They all got their gas signs popped out as an indication of something. They're communicating something between all these QT stores. This is what they had planned for me. Chris. 14. Got him. Look at God. That was my last dollar.
I know.
How much you got there?
$14.40.
Oh, that's good. 14.40.
$1,440. You know, that's a little lunch money, you know, for a couple days. You know, that's a little lunch money for a couple days. You know.
Dying, and they're dying from this condition. And the condition they're dying from is being hated, being discriminated against. In a sense, if you look at the figures of men who lose their homes, their families, their children, and most of them, 90% of those homeless men are there as a result of domestic violence. They've been kicked out, they've been lost. We look at that, I think it's a form of genocide. I really do. I can't see anywhere in history when women have turned on men like this. Men as who are the protectors. Men who are out working, 75% of taxes are paid by men who are there and they are working for their wives, their children and their families. Any man who knows that there are accusations against him knows he will probably lose his job. If he has children, he has to move out of his house. This is only allegations, no evidence. Has to move out of his house, and it'll take over a year before there'll be any kind of a court case. The woman, and it's 99.9%, it's women who are making these allegations. These women get paid from the moment she makes the allegation with no evidence, can hand out up to $500,000, and are dying, and they're dying from this condition. And the condition they're dying from is being hated, being discriminated against. In a sense, if you look at the figures of men who lose their homes.
We're going to start this video out by saying all constitutional rights invoked, now waived. All constitutional rights invoked, now waived. It took a lot for me to have to make this video because I'm just disgusted on so many levels. But I want to share with you guys. I want to share with you, you know, what all this fuss is about and why I'm feeling so, you know, uneasy inside about this. Okay. Now we're going to limit this video specifically to talking about the lottery situation. Okay. With the multi-state lottery, the state of Arizona and the state of Ohio and the state of Florida, and a company called Carroll and Company, which are the auditors for the multi-state lotteries, Powerball. Okay? All right, so getting right into it. The first thing I want to start off by saying is these wins of mine go all the way back to 2006. After an extensive investigation, we were able to trace this all the way back to 2006. And it all started in the state of Ohio. Okay? It started in the state of Ohio. And when they initially found out that I won, they found out how young I was. Okay? They found out how young I was. I was like 20 years old. And when they found out how old I was and the fact that I was indigenous, I'm not going to say black, but when they found out that I was a brown man, indigenous, they said, oh no, we can't let him get it. Okay? So what they did was they switched it. Now, I didn't know at the time. I did not know. I had no way of knowing. So, I continued to play through the years and continued to win. And what they did was each time that I would win, they would offset it and just kind of like sit it to the side and let someone else claim the win and act like they won. So this happened from 2006 all the way up until 2023 because they still doing it. And so the disturbing part about it is these people have stalked me. These people have been watching me all these years. And the most disgusting thing about it is they have been doing things to me in my life without me even knowing that it was coming from this group of people that are associated with this lottery. Okay? And for those who would say, well, who is they? They are the group of people that are associated with the lottery, the multi-state lottery, and Carroll and Company. Okay? Now, this has been going on for a long time, so all of those people that work in those places, they are all familiar with who I am. They all know who I am. But I didn't know any of this was going on. I didn't find this out until last year in 2022, April 2022, I found all this out for a fact. But I had suspicions before then, and we were doing some investigative work to get some questions answered that we had. Okay, now I have been playing Powerball and Mega Millions for over 20 years. I'm just going to say that, over 20 years. So I became a master at the game because I've been playing it for so long, and I've spent more than $110,000 over the years playing the game. Okay? So with that being said, I kept on winning and kept on winning, and they never let me get not one of my wins. They watched me. They watched what was going on in my life. They watched where I worked. They watched who my friends were. They watched who I was in relationships with. And they even upped the ante. And they even started sending people to be in a relationship with me. I found out that they sent at least 2 different people to come into my life and to try to have a baby by me and to try to get married, and the shit didn't work. And let me explain to you why. Because very long ago, at a very young age, I took a look at the world and took a look at everyone around me, and I said, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my dad. I don't want to be like my uncle. I don't want to be like anybody that I knew. So I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I knew that I did not want to be like anyone that I seen living, because I was not satisfied with the quality of life that they were having. You know, I was not satisfied with that. So I said, I'm not going to be like that. So I made sure, living my life, that I didn't make certain mistakes and I didn't do certain willy-nilly shit to make me end up in a situation where I would be forced to put up with oppression and forced to be put up with things that I watch other people go through and put up with. So I was very careful to not have any children, very careful to not ever get married, very careful to, stick to my guns and not do any of that stuff until I was satisfied with the level and quality of my life. then I would go on to make those kind of decisions. But I always told myself until then, I'm not doing nothing. Now, the whole time that I was sticking to my guns and making sure that I don't get myself caught up in fuck shit or get myself caught up in, just being married and engaged and all of the stuff that people do, I didn't want it, so I didn't do it. Now, these people felt like it wasn't fair. They felt like, oh, it's not fair. He's winning these lotteries, and he's doing it consistently. We know he's not cheating because there is no way to cheat, but he's just lucky. He's just winning. But they made it their business to look at me as a person and discriminate against me for my skin color, and discriminate against me because of my age, and discriminate against me because of my marital status, and discriminate against me due to the fact that I didn't have no children. So they felt like, oh, we don't have nothing to control him with because he just gonna have all this money and be free and not have no wife and not have no children and be so young with all this money. We can't let that happen. So they made a decision that they were not going to let me enjoy none of my wins, regardless of how much I won, regardless of anything. What they wanted me to do was they wanted me to get old first, okay? They wanted to wait till I get old, and then they were going to let me enjoy somewhat of a win once I got old. But the whole time they were doing this, they were sabotaging me, and they were like getting certain positions terminated at certain jobs. They were just doing a whole number of different things to keep me oppressed, okay? Thinking that would make me want to, be in love with someone and seek love outside of myself, so that they could then say, okay, well, now he's ready. We can let him win now. He's going to, he's been winning and he's going to win again. So we'll let, the next time he win, we'll let him get it once he's married. So they sent this girl. I'm not going to say her name. We're going to just call her Juanita, just for placeholder purposes. So they sent Juanita in 2016. They sent Juanita, and she was very adamant about getting married and getting pregnant. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, why are you so adamant about getting married and getting pregnant? And it was so bizarre because they knew my type. Like, they knew, because I have a type, and they knew. They had this girl picked out where her education level was up to par, her looks was up to par, everything was up to par that I would approve of. And so, I kicked it with her for a while, and then I seen what she was trying to do, and I was like, I said, no. I said, oh no. So I got her away from me. And it was so bizarre because when I told her it was over, she was like going crazy. Like, she was, it was just so abnormal. And I was like, wait a minute, like, this is strange. Like, don't nobody act like this. I was like, don't nobody act like that when somebody is wanting to break up, like, especially female that's looking good like she looked. And I was like, I couldn't figure it out. But then when I broke up with her, she basically got back in contact with me, and she said some things to me that I never forgot, which was some nice, very nice things. And I was able to kind of put my investigative team on that, and they were able to, tell me what was really going on with that. So we figured that out. They sent her, and that was a fail. So they've been trying to do a number of different things. They've also been trying to put me in a position to do crime. They've been also been doing that, sending me people's credit cards. They've been sending me people's credit cards while sabotaging my money and while sabotaging my ability to provide for myself. They have been sending me. What they have done is they use those people to keep eyes on me and to report back to them what I was doing and, all this kind of thing. So these people, they put a lot of time and effort and money into trying to keep me broke and oppressed because they didn't want to see me have what they know I was entitled to. As they continue to steal my prizes, as they continue to try to set me up into different scenarios, into relationships with these different girls and different women, all of which didn't work. So they felt like, oh, this motherfucker think he's smart. He's not taking none of the baits, okay? And they just kept on going and kept on going and kept on going. And they went too far, and it was to the point where it was so much that they had done, it had added up to where it woke the sleeping giant up. So I was able to figure it all out. Okay. And once I figured it all out, I was able to report that to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. And once the Federal Trade Commission got wind of it, I'm assuming that they had a way to stand by and watch. Okay. Because, it could have sounded unbelievable. It's kind of sound hard to believe if somebody's coming to you telling you all this. It sound crazy. So they sat back and watched. And when they sat back and watched, they said, oh, shit, he's telling the truth. He's not lying. This shit is real. Like, it's really happening the way he said it's happening. And so they was able to go to work, and they was able to, step in and do some things. And while they were doing what they were doing, I was in the courts, and I filed a lawsuit because of it. And, and I said, you know what, I'm going to get justice. I'm going to file a lawsuit. I'm going to do that. And when I did that, they started using their connections to play with the courts. And they start using their connections to play with the courts, and they start just lying in court. And then I was able to do more investigative work while we were in court. And I found out that they were operating in the state of Arizona illegally. I put a restraining order on their ass because I told the judge that the public must be protected and that I must be protected as the plaintiff, and they must become compliant with the Arizona laws, okay, for conducting affairs in the state of Arizona. And, I placed their attorneys on notice and told them, and the judge denied the restraining order. And she said, well, there wasn't no good cause shown. And she just pretty much was trying to help them because she had did a lot for them to try to get the lawsuit to go away. The judge's name is Allison Backus, and the case number is CV 2022053-274. And she was trying to help them. And she was doing all this stuff, being partial and helping them and trying to get them out of trouble, okay? And denying anything that I would file and just letting them do whatever they want to do. Let them lie, let them file late stuff, just all kind of stuff. So I had to put a complaint on her. Now, they did all of this after they had sabotaged my home, my car. They did so much, and then they tried to put the real estate people. They tried to put $25,000 on the table for me to take, and in the contract, they tried to set the contract up to where as soon as I sign it, it will forgive the judge for all the illegal stuff that she did, and it would forgive them for everything, and it'll pretty much end all the cases that I had, because they had some type of medical stuff in there they was going to try to pull some schemes. I said, oh, so this is what they did to Moses. This is what they did to him. They did the same thing that they did to Moses, they was trying to do to me. They figure, oh, this is Moses' brother, so he'll fall for the same thing. But what they don't understand is I'm a lot bit more street than Moses. Moses wasn't street at all. See, I'm a little bit more street. You see, I'm going to tell you how I feel, and I'm going to cuss your ass the fuck out. And I'm going to call you on your shit. And if you got a problem with it, you could come and see me about it, and we could fight about it. Win, lose, or draw, I don't give a fuck. So that's me right there. And so I wasn't falling for any of their tactics, because what I do is I stop deception. That's the bulk of my work. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to fraud me. You're not going to pull no scheme on me without me figuring it out. So that's what they did. And, sitting up thinking about this, and sitting up thinking of the fact that they spent a lot of money and did a lot of things, and they robbed me of 17 years of my life. So from 2006 up to this day, my whole life was a lie. My whole life was a lie, because they robbed me of the reality that I should have had. They robbed me of the identity that I should have had, and they forced me to be doing fuck shit, like doing Uber Eats and just doing a whole bunch of different stuff, when I shouldn't have had to do none of that. I shouldn't have had to do none of that. Okay? And this is the reason why just giving me the money is not going to be enough. No amount of money that I recover from them is going to make what they did okay. I want lives. Okay? That's what I'm going to need. Just like for what happened to Moses, I'm going to need those lives. It ain't about money. I want those lives. I want to see lives taken forever, going to jail and never getting out. That's what I need. That's what's going to satisfy my soul. I need that, okay? And I will get it in both situations. That's what I need. It's not a dollar. It's not a coin that's in existence. It's not a dollar amount that exists. Not no trillion, not no 10 trillion, not nothing, not no diamonds, not no gold, not no nothing. I need those lives to be put behind bars for the rest of their lives, and for them to be taken away from their kids. I need to be in a courtroom. I want to hear spouses screaming. I want to hear children crying. I want to hear all that. I need that. I need that, because that's when I'm going to know that justice was rendered. That's when I'm going to know that it was real. And I don't give a fuck who say, oh, that's mean, that's nasty. Oh, yeah. Come check me about it. Come and say something to my face about it and see what happened. See what happened to you. See if you don't walk away leaking. I want what I want, and that's what the fuck I want. That's what I want. I want them bitches in jail for the rest of their lives. That's what I'm going to need. I need that. I need that. This was so atrocious. And then at the end of it, like, these bitches lured me to Florida in 2021. They lured me to Florida because that's where their big headquarters is for the lottery. And when I went to the Planter Queen restaurant, the fuckers poisoned me there trying to kill me, so that they could just say, well, fuck it. We can't let him win. Fuck it. We ain't going to let him have this. So let's just kill him. And they had my cousin coordinating. They had my cousin. They had her bitch ass coordinated. I cut her off. She was my favorite too. And it hurted my heart to have to cut her off. But I cut that raggedy bitch off. That raggedy bitch, I cut her ass off. It broke my heart, and I figured it all out. What she was doing, it was her job to convince me to go down there, and they knew that I would trust her, and I trusted her. I did, and I went down there, and I almost fucking died there because of it. Okay, and then so I could get in contact with Kathleen Brothers, and I'm gonna put her picture on the screen. I got in contact with Kathleen Brothers, which is the auditor, and come to find out she's connected to The fucking McDonald's Corporation. The McDonald's Corporation where my cousin Sean was murdered while he was at work. The McDonald's Corporation that my sister is a member of she's a secret society member of. Okay? So all the connecting pieces all came back and the whole jig is up. Everything is found out. And all these motherfuckers is going to jail. They all going to jail. They all going to jail. I'm going to be writing them when they get in jail too. I'm going to be writing these bitches. I'm going to be writing them. For the rest of their life, I'm going to be writing them. Cause I'm pissed. I'm bitter. I'm bitter behind this shit. All those fucking years they stole from me. 17 fucking years they stole from me. And then the federal court in Akron, Judge John R. Adams in Akron, he knew about it. He knew about it. The evidence, we have evidence that suggests that he knew what the fuck was up. And they allowed me to be stole from. Man, I can't believe it. So much for him saying he hate fraud. So much for him saying he hate fraud. So much for that. All these people in these courts and shit, these judges, they be fake. They be faking. They be faking. And I was ashamed of him because, you know what I'm saying, I followed his orders and, you know what I'm saying, I thought he was a stand-up person, but come to find out he was fake. And I'm just like, man, that shit don't make no sense. That's just crazy. Like, y'all all knew, everybody stood back and knew, and they allowed this shit. Like, this was some type of, yeah. So, you know, I'm going to be spending some time away from this country. You know, for a minute after all this, I'm going to be spending some time away because I got a sour taste in my mouth about this shit. This shit is just utterly disgusting. It's just disgusting. Nothing that can be done is going to make me feel right about that situation. And then on top of the fact of what happened to my brother and he couldn't get justice, and these motherfuckers want to have a nerve to send him an IRS bill. You want to have a nerve to send somebody an IRS bill? The IRS don't deserve to get no money from me. For all this shit, they deserve to get a restraining order against them to not touch nothing that belonged to me and not have the ability to tax me being an indigenous person to this land because they agency, they just did too much. They just did too much. They did too much. So that's the end of it. I don't have nothing else more to say. You know, the situation is disgusting. And I know that if it happened to me, what about the other people that something like that has happened to and they're not that smart? They don't do investigative work. Where do you have to go to? There is nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. There's nobody to go to get no justice. You'd be left out in the cold. If you don't have certain connections, you're going to be left out in the cold. Nobody's going to believe you. And this is the whole reason why they had the narrative going that I was crazy, because they couldn't allow me to find out what they was doing to me, stealing all that money. So they said, we got to make him look crazy in case he find out. We got to, make him look crazy. But yeah, that's why they can't produce no winner for that November 7th Powerball that happened last year, because they stole it. They tried to steal it from me. And they were unsuccessful. They were unsuccessful, and then they ruined my whole entire family. They ruined my relationship with my mother. They ruined my relationship with my brother. They ruined my relationship with everybody. They did all that to try to make me, you know what I'm saying? They thought I was going to, you know what I'm saying, have a breakdown or something, but I'm having me a motherfucking breakthrough. I don't break down, I break through. And I broke through on they motherfucking ass, and all of them going to jail, and that's that. And they gotta cough up every single penny of my motherfucking money, and they don't like it, but guess what? Them bitches is getting used to it. Now all constitutional rights invoked, now waived, and we out of here. Okay, people. This is a company called Carroll & Company, which are certified public accountants and auditors for the Powerball game. And this is Miss Kathleen Brothers, the head honcho down there in the building. Now, when I was calling down there, I called down there to get in touch with Kathleen, and the receptionist was talking to me as if she had been knowing me for years. She was like, Mark, she said, I'll have Kathleen give you a call, but right now she's in meetings. And I said, so when is she gonna be out of the meeting? And I can call back at that time. And she said, well, I don't know. I said, okay, well, I'll leave my information and I'll have you to have her to call. So I left my information, but this lady, this receptionist who picked up the phone, she just kept saying my name and like kept talking to me, like you know how a person talk to a puppy, like a puppy, like how somebody say, hey, sit. It's like she was kind of giving me that kind of tone. And like she was talking to me as if she had known me for years. And I'm like, why is she talking to me like she know me? Anyway, I told her to have this lady give me a call. And so I waited all day, and she never called. And I called back, and she was like, well, Mark, she's not going to call you yet. She's busy. So I waited until the next day. Called back again. She was like, well, she's not in the building. It was always an excuse. And finally, after 8 days, this lady calls me back, okay? And when she gets on the phone, when she calls me, she immediately go into defense mode, and she was scared. This lady was horrified. And she was like, you don't need to be on the phone with me. She said, you need to be on the phone with Patricia Lance up at Muscle. You don't need to be on the phone with me. She said, can you please? And she was respectful. I can say this lady did not disrespect me. She was very polite, and she was scared. She was like, can you call Patricia? Call Patricia Lance up at Muscle. You need to be on the phone with them, not us. I said, well, you guys are the auditors, for the game. So how are you guys allowing this stuff to happen? How are you allowing these kind of activities to take place? How are you allowing Muscle to do that? Then what's the point of having auditors if they're allowed to do that? And she just wouldn't answer it. She said, I don't know. I can't argue with that. She said, you need to be on the phone with Patricia Lance up at Muscle. She said, do you have her number? I said, yeah, I have her number, and I spoke with her, a number of different times. And, and she's not cooperating. And she was like, well, that's who you need to be talking to, not us. She was like, can you please not call here anymore? And like, she was scared. She didn't want to be in it. She did not want to be in it. She was like, you know how a person say, I'm not in it. My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. That's how she was. She was like, my name is Paul and that's between y'all. And I was like, well, no, it's not that easy, because you are involved. You are involved. So I did some more extensive research on this lady. And you know what? And I didn't call her back after that, but I did continue to carbon copy her on emails so that she can be aware of what's being said back and forth and what's going on. But I did some more extensive research, and I was quite disturbed at the information that me and my team was able to gather. Come to find out, this lady is also connected to the McDonald's Corporation, okay? And apparently, she's been connected to the Ronald McDonald's house and the McDonald's Corporation for about 16 to 17 years. And ironically, that's how far back these thefts go. Okay, these thefts go back to 2006. So I was kind of quite disturbed. And also, my sister has secret society affiliations with the McDonald's Corporation. Okay. And also, my cousin Sean Fan was murdered at McDonald's in Cuyahoga Falls. He was murdered there while at work, which was disturbing because he was murdered the few days, I think it was a week after Moses' funeral. So he was at Moses' funeral, and then he came up dead. And then see, this is why everybody was like, well, Mark, why didn't you go to Moses' funeral? Why didn't you go to Ohio? Because my investigative team advised me that I was not allowed to go because they had plans on killing me when I got there. So I was not allowed to go. I couldn't go for safety reasons. Okay? And so since they couldn't kill me, okay, since they couldn't get that sacrifice, they went on ahead and sacrificed my cousin Sean Fan. Okay, so that's what happened, and it's all connected. All this stuff is connected. He was working at work at McDonald's in Cuyahoga Falls on Howell Road, and he got shot while at work, and the person who shot him was just a patsy. Okay, and he didn't really get any kind of jail time or any real time because it was all premeditated and organized. And so I was kind of disturbed about that. So all of this stuff is all intertwined, and it all boils down to them, not wanting me to have what I'm supposed to have and things of that nature. And this pretty much answered my question, because I wanted to know, why is it so important that they have this narrative going around on YouTube that I'm crazy and that I'm schizo and all this? So it was very important for these crooks to get the public to believe that I was crazy or something like that. But all the smart people know that that's not true. And that is why they tried to offer me $25,000. And all of this stuff that happened to me, all the way down to the real estate people who I'm in court with now, they're all connected with this. These are all people who's acted in concert, and that's exactly why Congress enacted the RICO law, to be able to put a stop to activities like this where people are coming together to target people. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times regular people won't be able to explain what's going on. But anyway, getting back to Miss Kathleen Brothers here, she was polite to me, but she knows about the thefts and how far back they go and everything. And it's just not going to be enough to get me any amount of money. It's just not going to be enough. I need lives. I need people in jail. I want to see convictions without the possibility of parole. That's what I'm going to need. That's what's going to whet my appetite. The money is not going to be enough because they just did too much. So this is where I'm going to leave that at. This lady, she told me you need to be on the phone with Muscle and Patricia Lance. So I just continued to follow up with Muscle and Patricia Lance. So there it is. There it is. And there's that.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.